Hey folks, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. It is June the 25th, 2020. So let me pull up the journalytics to start here. I had 24 trades in total and I ended the day green today. Let me just get that for you. You'll see that here, June 25th. This is the journalytics today for this simulator account trading. So I had a total of 24 trades. The win rate is 58%, which is all right. A lot of interesting trades today. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about my process of how I was managing the trades today versus other times. So first thing, I want to say that today I paid more attention to quicker scalping and not paying attention as much to the thing that I had originally developed, which was like a 10-point stop and 11-point profit target. And sometimes I was paying attention to that depending on the setup, and sometimes I wasn't. I guess the reason for that is because I was trying to scalp the markets a little bit more. It worked a lot of the times. It worked. When you get into the flow of the market, you can really sort of identify when it's likely that it's going to trade higher or trade lower based on what happened before, okay? And showing the amount of transactions taking place at each price here shows me what kind of traders are being trapped and where. So that's the sort of magic behind this price ladder. So, I mean, I'm not going to go over every single one of these trades because I had 24 trades total, but I will say that it was working fine here. And as you can see, I don't even have market depth, but I was still able to scalp these markets relatively easily by seeing this kind of order flow. Looking right off the open here, you can see that I probably scalped this long here and then I got short and then I covered that for break even. So I had a couple of trades here where I did the type of thing where I got into a trade and then covered it for break even pretty soon after, once I saw that the order flow wasn't really confirming the idea of my trade. All right, and as you can see here, as we broke bearish, I missed that move completely, got a little bit long off of this low here, the 99.20s, and then we started to get into this sort of wedge formation. Now you're looking at this on a 30-second time frame, so I don't expect you to see much there, but definitely I'm referencing my other charts from TradingView as I'm looking at this. Okay, so I'll look at the 2-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute, hourly charts. Generally, I focus on 2-minute and 5-minute the most. Basically, we met up with the overnight lows on the NASDAQ here, 98, 93, 75. And once we traded down there, this was the first time we traded there. Traded down to 98, 90. And then we bounced a bit, and then we tried again and couldn't find any sellers down there, and that's when we started to bounce. So I took a long trade off of that one, and that one ended up working quite well, and we did get a two-legged bull move above there, but I was just looking for a small enough move. So you can see there, nice, about a 20 handle move there, pretty good. And then here in this sort of consolidation, I managed to get myself long on this pop right here. I would have got long at 34. If I had a stop at 24, I would have got stopped. So you had to keep the stop maybe about 10, 11 points away there. Wasn't the greatest fill in the world. Probably wanted to land a fill near the moving average for that one. But once we saw a clear two-time failure here, it was clear that the market wanted to move higher. And you can see we had a couple of legs up here getting towards our VWAP. At this point, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. You can see that we have a breakout and then not much follow through, and then we sort of traded lower back into the range. Now over here, similar sort of idea where we're trading lower, but if you were watching the order flow, you would have seen a lot of sell orders come in, but we were not trading lower. And again, that's a signal to get long there. So I had a mini scalp here and I got out for that because I wasn't really looking for much. I wanted to see if these buyers were going to come back around the 30s. They did. And then same thing here. So there's a lot of this sort of scalping thing, and basically the technique is just looking at the order flow, looking at the amount of contracts trading on the bid, trading on the offer, looking at imbalances between buyers and sellers, and seeing where traders are generally getting stuck, and seeing where we get large price moves and how these traps are setting up as they play out. So if we can go over a couple of traps here. You can see that here we broke the highs by a couple of ticks straight into a pullback. So right there, a couple of ticks, breakout, no follow through, you fade it right back to the moving average. That's a decent setup. If there's no buyers to push up here, you're gonna find that that works pretty well. Then we continue up higher because again, the buyers were just not letting up here. And again, this was very clear. If you're watching the order flow, you would have seen a whole bunch of bids printing. Bids are printing, bids are printing. And then we start trading higher above those bids that printed. Well, what do you think happens? Everyone who sold now is either trapped, but if they sold short, right? So then we trade higher. Here I got stuck shorting it a little bit. Once there, you can see I got stopped out. Here as well, I tried to short this thing as we were reaching the top part of that move, and I just stopped it out for break even. Here I shorted it again as I was expecting a failed breakout, but again the buyers were strong because you can see now we're above VWAP. Shorts are still likely getting squeezed. Sellers were not really arriving. But you can see that we weren't seeing much bullish follow through, so we just managed to fade back down here. All right, and I did a few mistakes here where I top ticked this candle, sold for a loss. Then as I saw this filled, I bought that and then got long. So there's a lot of messy scalping here. Let's see if we can find a better looking trap. Okay, so this one's pretty good right here. So look at this trap right here. You can see that we're kind of grinding up right back to the higher part of the range. We're above the VWAP and we're in this sort of trading range here, okay? So the highs being 10,007 or so. And you can see how we slowly grinded above that. Now, as we were moving up, it was seeming very, very likely that we were going to pop above these highs because the market always does that. It will always squeeze out shorts. If there's no sellers to defend this price, it's going to push up and squeeze the shorts to see if there's any liquidity up there. And that's what it did. And what happened, it resulted straight into a sell. So that's an example of a nice little bull trap right there. So you get above the highs, no follow through, start selling and breaking the lows. I scalped this one for a nice profit. You can see as I saw it was failing pretty aggressively. 10,000, I was short around there and then I covered it around the 80s. So pretty good scalp and not looking for much, right? Because we know that there's likely going to be more buyers right around this zone from earlier. So I don't want to front run the idea that the buyers are just going to drop this thing in the dirt, but I will look for a potential move within this price range. That's a general idea here. And you can see after that we moved up again. You can see that the buyers managed to defend it, and then we moved up again for another time, broke it by 1 or 2 ticks, and then resulted in another sell. So this is a great example of that trading range price action. So after seeing all this, it's hard to determine which side of the trade is more trapped. So that's why you look at the imbalance between the buyers and sellers to determine how many buys actually took place up here and how many sells actually took place in this range. And it was not extremely clear, but eventually once we broke here, we started to trade lower, met up with that VWAP, massive bounce, and generally very choppy price action overall. Good for scalping. All right, guys, so hope you guys learned something from watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.